Today, we're gonna win. We're gonna fight.
Notre Dame stops it. The Irish win the game.
We play together, we play for each other, and we play to win.
Inside Notre Dame Football with Brian Kelly is presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame members Coca-Cola, Sprint, Gatorade, and Under Armour. Inside Notre Dame Football is also sponsored by ATI Physical Therapy, Bank of America, Cadillac, CBTS, Xfinity, Meyer, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, and UPS.
Well, we got to put a complete game together. I mean, look, in our two losses, you could say that, maybe one was taken away from us, and we gave the next one away. We gave this game away. We need to focus on playing better and playing a complete game. That's really our focus.
Irish head coach Brian Kelly on what Notre Dame needs to do in the coming weeks following the team's disappointing loss to Arizona State Saturday in Sun Devil Stadium. Hello again, Irish fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Notre Dame Football with Brian Kelly. I'm Jack Nolan. It was a game of tremendous lows and some highs as well for the Irish in Tempe. After falling behind by 31 points, the Irish scored 28 unanswered points to make it a game before losing 55-31 to the Sun Devils. During this week's show, Coach Kelly gives credit to Arizona State for an outstanding performance against the Irish, but Coach also does not pull any punches when talking about his team, a team that turned the ball over 5 times and mishandled a critical field goal snap in the game.
You play to win, and you can't win football games if you're sloppy. And, we were sloppy. I applaud our team for competing and getting themselves back in the game, but we're not looking for the attaboys. We're looking for wins, and you can't win football games that way.
This is Bob. Bob's on a first date, so he's not thinking about where to buy his next set of tires. But if he were, all he'd need to know is TireRack.com. They stock over 1 million tires and can have yours shipped to a trusted, independent, recommended installer in as little as 1 business day. But Bob's not thinking about tires. Bob's thinking, should I tell her about that thing in her teeth? TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
All across America, people are making the move to improve their TV and internet service by dropping satellite and switching to Xfinity.
Satellite was so frustrating. Bad customer service is one of my biggest pet peeves.
Comcast customer service has improved a lot over the last few years.
I love Xfinity On Demand because there's a lot more options for my kids to watch. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Martin, and we weren't happy with satellite, so we switched to Xfinity.
Join the move to improve and try us risk-free for 30 days. Get started with Xfinity TV for just $19.99 a month for a year. Call today.
Sweat. It says I was here. I worked here. It says I only have so much to give before I have to take. What I lose, I want to get back. Sweat says, I earned this. Gatorade, created to help replace what you sweat out.
Notre Dame did not come out flat against Arizona State, forcing a punt on the game's first possession and then marching 59 yards on 14 plays to set up a field goal the first time the Irish touched the football. But things quickly unraveled after that for Notre Dame.
Ultimately, the biggest problem was the turnovers. And when Everett fumbled the ball, and then subsequently when we had the interception, the deflection, and then the pick six, that was the difference early on. That was in the first 33 plays. In the first 33 plays, we also had 6 sacks. The next 47 plays, we played great football, and you can't do that. You have to play well coming out of the gates. Our mantra is start fast, attention to detail. We started pretty good. Our attention to detail was not very good, and that got us. That's really the difference in this game, because we played with great effort and enthusiasm in the third quarter, which is our third piece. We finished as strong as we could in that game. So we missed on the attention to detail, and that's what I'm most disappointed in.
I remember thinking on your first possession, they're handling the blitz packages really, really well. And you did until the last couple of plays in that first drive. Then you hit that stretch where you didn't. What happened there?
Well, one of them we had a max protection on. We knew the pressure was coming. We have a miss by our tight end in our back. That causes Everett to scramble and put the ball on the ground. The second one was a pressure where we throw the ball on a quick game, and we missed the cut by our offensive tackle. He jumps up and knocks the ball down. And then the third one, they had an 8-man front bringing pressure. We throw it out just like we did against Syracuse. Everett gets a deflection on the play. So that fine detail and that attention to detail through execution wasn't there, and it cost us dearly.
When you were talking with Everett, you basically said, stop rushing. Does he get too revved up sometimes?
My conversation was, listen, that's behind us. There's nothing that we can do about that. What you need to do is just make sure that you're fundamentally sound. The rest of the game did some really good things in protection, did some really good things in progression, threw the football where we needed it. You know, we couldn't overcome that lack of attention to detail that put us behind at 31-3.
Some might scoff at this statement, but when you look at the big picture, your defense actually played fairly well in this game.
You know, they had 5 touchdowns for 44 yards. Nobody has held this offense down this year. We were 5.8 yards per play. The next best this year defensively against them was 5.6 per play, and that was Stanford. And Stanford's a pretty good defense. That's a senior-laden defense. This had 6 freshmen running around. So we want to play better defensively. We want to get better. We need to get better on defense. But we got bigger issues that we need to clean up, and most of them are on offense.
With 1:09 left in the second quarter, Arizona State kicked a field goal to go up 34-3, and just about everybody in America thought the game was over, except the Irish. A late score in the half, a long drive to start the second half that unfortunately ended in an interception but gave the Irish confidence, a defense that shut Arizona State out in the third quarter, and an offense that just would not give up enabled the Irish to get back in the game.
We got the score right before the half. I think that helped us a little bit going in the locker room. You know, what was disappointing is we have a great drive and we throw an interception, and that's careless. We cannot throw an interception in the end zone there. But we come right back and get another score on the board and make it 34-17. Now you're down 2 scores. You know, we got our kids going. There was great effort. There was great enthusiasm, and they really pushed hard in the second half.
Before earning enough cash back from Bank of America to help pay for her kids' ice time. Before earning 1% cash back everywhere, every time.
Close the front door!
And 2% back at the grocery store. Even before she got 3% back on gas, all with no hoops to jump through. Katie used her Bank Americard Cash Rewards credit card to stay warm and toasty during the heat of competition. That's the comfort of rewarding connections. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Gutterman Group is a go.
Yes! Not just a startup, an upstart. Gotta get going.
Gotta be good.
Good?
Good.
Growth is the goal. How do we do that?
I talked to UPS. They'll help us out. New technology, smart advice. We focus on the business, and they take care of the logistics.
UPS.
Good going.
We get good. That's great.
Great. Great.
Great.
Great.
Great.
Great.
Great.
Great.
Great.
I love logistics.
This is Pete. Pete is helping his aunt move, so he's not thinking about tires right now. But if he were, all he'd need to know is TireRack.com. They post their own test results and user reviews, so he could get the right tires for his car in as little as 1 business day. But Pete's not thinking about tires. Pete's thinking it would have been nice if his aunt had mentioned the minor bird. TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
After Arizona State went up 34-3, the Irish outscored the Sun Devils 28-0 to cut the ASU lead to just 3. One of the contributing factors to the rally was the insertion of captain Cam McDaniel into the game at running back. Cam's contributions went far beyond the fact he scored 2 touchdowns in a game for the first time in his career.
His impact was huge. His presence there picked up all the pressures, ran hard, got us to tough yards on the goal line. When they knew we were going to run it into an 8- and 9-man look, we weren't going to throw it down there. We were going to be, we were pretty stubborn in terms of running the football into those looks. But yeah, he was huge for us, and he showed why he was a captain in the way he performed in the second half.
And you now have a healthy Amir Carlisle, and I think we saw throughout the game how much he can add to your offense.
No question. His speed, his ability to run with the ball, hit a couple of nice screens in there with him, a couple of nice plays down the field, had him and Procise at that position. I think both of them together give us just a nice, solid Z slot position, and they both complement each other well.
And you frequently talk about the connection between preparation, practice, and performance on game day, and you kind of challenged Will Fuller, and he made a great catch on that first touchdown and gave you a very productive game.
He did. He made a great catch on that, getting 1 foot in bounds and turning his body back to get it. And it was reminiscent of the catch that he had against Michigan earlier in the year. Great throw by Everett, but a big play for us to get us some momentum going into the second half.
I think everybody who's a Notre Dame fan, when the snap went through the hands, just kind of dropped, but your team didn't. I think all of us watching did, but the team comes back, and when you get the ball back, boom, boom, 2 big plays, and you still cut it to 3.
The great thing about this group of kids is that they just keep playing, and that's something to commend them. But as I said at the outset, this isn't about pats on the back. This is about winning football games. But, they do have a spirit about them, about playing and believing. That was quite a moment where they were able to go back, even though most of the day things weren't going their way. They kept fighting and persevering.
Another guy this year that seems to do whatever you ask him to do, and when you put him in makes a difference, is Matthias Farley, and he helped you a lot in this game.
It's not a natural position for him. He's not a speed burner. He's not a guy that has played a ton of football, but he's playing a role for us, and he's doing the best he can. And what he is he's opportunistic, and if the ball's in the air, he's got pretty good ball skills, and comes up with a big interception, gets us in great field position, puts us in an opportunity to get another score on the board.
The Irish did score after the Farley interception and added another touchdown a bit later to cut the deficit to 3, but Arizona State pulled away with 3 touchdowns in the final 4.5 minutes to account for the final of 55-31. Now, the final stats show Notre Dame was able to move the ball in Arizona State, but 4 of the turnovers led to 28 Arizona State points. Another turnover cost the Irish a probable touchdown in the third quarter, and of course, the botched snap took 3 more points off the board. As Coach said, a sloppy performance led to a disappointing loss for ND. But the Irish had their moments, like their 2-play touchdown drive in the fourth quarter that cut the Arizona State lead to 3. The 34-yard pass to Chris Brown, followed by Amir Carlisle's 25-yard touchdown catch, make up this week's ATI Physical Therapy Strong and True Moment of the Week. It is the job of the team captains to lead and take some of the responsibility when things don't go well on the field. Cam McDaniel and Nick Martin did just that after Saturday's game.
There's no excuse, and as a football team, from a leadership standpoint, I got to do a better job making sure that the team's ready. All the captains do.
We definitely didn't start fast. That's one thing he harps on. Start fast, and we just didn't do that today. Got to do that. It's very important in a football game.
The Irish also left Sun Devil Stadium with absolutely no doubt about what the team must do in the coming weeks.
Win out. I mean, we can only do so much, and we only control so much, so we want to do what we can control.
Right now there's just no excuse not to win the rest of our games. We fought hard, and we were resilient in the second half, and we know how to play in big games. We've won big games. There's no excuse why we didn't come back in the second half.
As we go to break, it's time to hear Coach Kelly's pick for this week's TireRack.com Notre Dame drive of the game.
Obviously the quick score where we got it back to 34-31. We got all the momentum back in the game. I think it quieted down the crowd. There was a great amount of energy. We faked the screen to Will Fuller and hit Amir Carlisle, who was wide open going in the end zone. I think that really sent the shockwave through sold-out stadium and put us back in the ballgame.
The evolution of luxury continues. The next generation 2015 Escalade.
Sprint has done it again. First, there was the Sprint Family Share Pack. A family of 2, 4, or even 10 gets unlimited talk, text, and 20 gigabytes of data to share with the entire family for only $100 a month. That's double the high-speed data of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Double the data. And now check out Sprint's new unlimited plan. Individual lines of unlimited data, talk, and text at just $50 a month per line. Our lowest price ever. Enjoy either plan with iPhone 6 for $0 down. Sprint, it's the best value in wireless.
Brindza also made his only field goal attempt on Saturday, increasing his school record for career field goals to 54. Now, you often hear players joke that kickers aren't real football players, but you don't hear many say that about Kyle. Brindza also handles Notre Dame's punting and kickoff duties and has recorded an impressive 40 touchbacks this season. And he has done all of this despite being born with a physical condition, a club foot that he now kicks with, that at one time led doctors to tell him he would never compete at a high level.
People say that punters and kickers aren't people or they're not athletes, but at the end of the day for me, I'm in and out of the weight room same amount as the linemen, the linebackers, whatnot. You know, you go look at our 225 bench press last spring, and I was in the top 4. You know I'm an athlete. You know, some people don't see it just because all we do is kick a ball.
If he comes off the bus first, you don't think he's a kicker. He's obviously put together very well. He takes care of himself. He's strong. I think if he petitioned us, he'd want to be on the kickoff team as a tackler, not just as the kicker.
I'm trying to change the way people think about kickers and punters. There's no lonesome kicker or lonesome punter. You're part of the team no matter what.
Lining up for the winning field goal from 27 yards away. Brindza nailed it.
It's kind of a blessing for you because your coach trusts you. If he trusts you, you need to be able to instill that in him that the reason why you trust me is because I'm going to make this field goal. So you just have to go out there and make it.
Officially a 51-yard attempt. The issue here could be his plant foot with the footing. Hit on the leg and Brindza nails it.
That dude in the fourth quarter that kicks that damn football.
Hard, Brindza. Some people say they like pressure, but they really don't. You know, I honestly can say that I love pressure.
This time he puts it down, and Brindza's big leg gets Notre Dame its first lead of the game.
Taking those deep breaths really allowed me to relieve all the stress. Any type of game, home or away or neutral site, that deep breath allows me to just, block everything out.
When we talk about making big kicks, he's arguably one of the best that I've been around in making that big kick, and I think it has to do with overcoming the adversity that he had with his physical ailments.
Obviously, being born with club foot, the rate of, the ratio of you being able to play a sport, even walking properly, is very slim. The odds were always put against me. As I was growing up, my grandfather always told me, God gives his toughest battles to the strongest soldiers. So, that's one of the biggest things for me is, these odds are put against you, why can't you overcome them? I've gone through so much more that's bigger than a game. My life has been a battle. This football aspect of my life is just a game. People who have had clubfoot would die to be where I'm at right now. I'm very blessed that they told me the odds that they were putting against me, because if I didn't have those odds put against me, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Kyle Brindza's future. It's a good question. I'd love to see myself in the NFL, but if that doesn't work out, obviously I have the greatest degree you could possibly have on this earth. The biggest thing for me is I want to be able to help others. I want to be able to go out and help those who's had birth defects like me. All I know is I'm going to be able to make an impact in someone else's life.
Making a positive impact is something Kyle Brindza has already done, not only for the Notre Dame football team, but for the many folks he has inspired as they battle to overcome the adversity they face in their own lives. Junior safety Elijah Shoemate has started 7 of Notre Dame's 9 games in 2014 and is currently tied for 3rd on Notre Dame's season tackle list with 48, in addition to picking off a pass and sacking a quarterback, a performance that has earned him the honor of running this week's Inside Notre Dame Football 60-second drill. Favorite TV show?
Coach Kelly's talk show.
What did you do on your first date?
Talk about football.
Place anywhere in the world you would like to visit?
Coach Van Gorder's house.
Favorite breakfast meal?
Ooh, lots of pancakes, eggs, and bacon.
Get up early or sleep in?
Sleep in.
What is your pregame routine?
I like to listen to a lot of crunk music, just a lot of crazy music.
Toughest player to tackle on the team?
Toughest player to tackle on the team? Probably Tyler Plants.
Best singer on the team?
Me.
Best dancer on the team?
Elijah Shoemate.
Best comedian on the team?
Elijah Shoemate.
Best dresser on the team?
Elijah Shoemate.
Worst dresser on the team?
CJ Proslice.
Best thing about playing for Notre Dame?
Everybody.
Elijah Shoemate, you've completed the 60-second drill inside Notre Dame football. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Couple of quizzes. Dinner? I don't know. Oh, love that. Send me the recipe. You too, Mom.
Hey, Jake.
Hey, what are you doing?
We're just sitting down for dinner.
Perfect. Mind if I join you?
You did it.
Whenever you're close to Meyer, you're a little closer to home.
A financial institution is behind many of the milestones in your life. Pick one that sees you as more than just an account number. Own your dreams. Join a credit union today.
It's time now for this week's Ask Coach Kelly question presented by CBTS. This week's question comes from Ben Petrick of Alexandria, Virginia, who asks, Coach, do you pick the player who gets the game ball after a win, or are other coaches involved in that decision?
We communicate in the locker room after the game. I usually have an idea, but I'll ask for some input, and then I'll make the decision from there.
Next up for the Irish, a return to Notre Dame Stadium for a meeting with a Northwestern team that has struggled this season, but one that has also been very competitive in nearly every game they've played.
They got a nice win over Wisconsin. We know they're a physical team. It's a Big Ten team. So you're going to have a physical, tough, hard-nosed group of kids. We're excited about the matchup, but we got a lot of work to do internally. We got to take care of ourselves and get better as a football team.
That will do it for this week's edition of Inside Notre Dame Football with Brian Kelly. We will, of course, have all the highlights of the 48th meeting between Notre Dame and Northwestern on next week's show. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Irish. Inside Notre Dame Football with Brian Kelly has been presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame members Coca-Cola, Sprint, Gatorade, and Under Armour. Inside Notre Dame Football is also sponsored by ATI Physical Therapy, Bank of America, Cadillac, CBTS, Xfinity, Meyer, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, Sirius XM Satellite Radio, and UPS.